Processing for Arduino, episode number 3, knobs. So in this tutorial, we're going to take a look at the knobs in processing. You can see here on the screen, I have, this is a little program here that we are going to be making. Now, I am using the same setup as we had in the last episode. It's just a LED on pin 11. We want to use a PWM pin because what we're doing is we're going to use the knob to control the brightness of the LED, and I'll show you here. We turn it up, we turn it down. Real easy program to set up. In a minute here we'll get into the processing and how this is set up, but just like I said, it's the same setup as we had in the last episode. We're just using an LED on pin 11, and make sure you put in your resistor so you don't burn your LED out. But all the way down, all the way up. Now you can use this to control other things in the LED. I'm just using the LED for this tutorial because it's nice, easy, convenient. You could use this, for controlling the speed of a motor. Pretty much the same stuff like the slider, which we did in the last episode. This is just a different version of a slider. It's a knob. So, all right. Well, with that, why don't we just get over to processing? We'll take a look at that, and then we'll take a look at the Arduino sketch. And the Arduino sketch is the same as we used in the last episode. For the sliders, that sketch worked perfectly fine without changing anything. We're just using a knob instead of a slider. And before I forget, if you look in the description below, you will find a link to the website, and you can find the code for processing and the code for the Arduino. So if you want to copy that and paste it in your programs there and try this out for yourself and then have some fun, play with it. All right, well, I'm going to get over to the computer then, so I'll catch you there in just a second. All right, I got processing opened up here, and I got the sketch loaded in. So let's just get right into it. Now, like we have done in the last two episodes, we are using the Control P5 library. If you miss those and you don't have this library, to get it, just click on Sketch, go under Import Library, Add Library. Right here in the filter, just type in NTROLP5, and that's the library right there. I already have it installed, but if you don't, just click on that, install it, and that's the only library we're going to need to download. Now, we're using the serial library as well, but that is already included with processing, so you will not have to download it. Don't worry about that one. All right, next what we're doing is we're naming the serial port. We're just calling it port. You can change that if you want, but I really would leave it alone because it makes it easier. Most people will just call it the port, and that way when you look at somebody else's sketch, oh, that's what it is. It makes it easier. Don't change this. You can if you want, but I don't recommend it. Same thing here. What we're doing is we're creating the Control P5. We're making a name for it, and we're just calling it the CP5, and most people as well just call it that. That way, like I said, when you're looking at somebody else's sketch, you kind of know what's going on then without having to do a whole bunch of comments on stuff. All right, with that, right here, we're putting a name for the knob, and I'm calling it LED because we're controlling the brightness in the LED. Now, if you were going to be controlling a motor or whatever, just change this right here. The LED, just change that to whatever you want it to be called, and that's going to be down here when we're setting the knob up, like you can see right here, LED. Whatever name you put here, you're going to want this to match. All right. Now, in the void setup, we're just doing a screen size for the program of 300 by 300. Now you can make it bigger, you can make it smaller. I wouldn't go much smaller than 300 by 300 for this knob anyway. But yeah, go ahead and play with these numbers, have fun. And then we got, oh, I forgot, this is something, sorry about that. We can take that out. That was something I was experimenting with earlier. Forgot to take it out. It's nothing we need for this. All right, so next what we're doing is, like I said, we named our serial as port. So we're doing our port. And I'm on COM3. Now right here, there's a good chance you're going to have to change this right here. And the easiest way, if you missed the past couple episodes, if you didn't watch those, what you do is just go to your Arduino IDE, because we're using wired communication right now. We have it plugged in by USB. The Arduino board's connected by USB. You can use Bluetooth. If you're using Bluetooth, whatever port your Bluetooth module adapter is on, that's what you put here. Otherwise, whatever port, and I'll bring up here, just go under Tools, and you look right here. This is the port that you're uploading your sketches from. Just as long as you're using that same USB port, just put that here, and I'm using COM3. All right, hope that makes sense to you. Then we're setting our baud rate, and again, make sure I'm using 9600. That's very common. That works perfect. I do actually suggest using that for almost everything, unless you need something that's running super quick. You can change it if you want. Just make sure if you do in your Arduino IDE on that sketch, make sure they both match. Then we're just initializing the CP5, the control P5 stuff, so don't change any of this at all. Now, what we're doing is we are bringing up, we're setting up the knob. And of course we're calling it LED. I'm going to go ahead and open it up so we can look at it here. Oh, the first thing we're doing is we're doing the dot set range. This is the value, the minimum and maximum. And of course with the Arduino, 0 is off, 255 is full on the PWM pin, so we're setting it 0 to 255. Then we're doing a dot set value. Now this is the start value. This is where, when you start the program up, this is where the knob will be tuned to, and you can see here it says 125. It's about halfway up. Next, we're doing dot set position. This is the X and Y coordinates of where the knob will appear on your little screen here. Next, we're doing a dot set radius. This is how big the knob is, and I'll show you here. We got it 50 right now. Change it to 20, and I'll show you. See, it got smaller. Now another thing is you'd have to change the position because we're using X and Y. Now I do believe on the X and Y for setting the position that I do believe it's the middle of the knob. I do believe it might be the upper corner. I'm not 100% sure on that. Actually we're doing a 300 by 300, so yeah, that might be the upper corner. All right, well, I'm going to change that back. Put that back to 50. Bring it back up. All right, next we're doing a dot set number of tick marks. That's these little tick marks right here, these little marks that go around. And I have 51 of them because it worked out to keep everything nice and even. Play with it. Have some fun with it. You can change it. You can go, oops. You get in here and I'll show you. Let's, instead of 51, let's do 25. And we'll run it. You see? Now there's only 25 tick marks. It's up to you how many you want, so go ahead and play with it. I'm going to go ahead and leave it at 25. Now next we're doing a dot set tick mark length. That's our little marks here. That's how long they are. I have them set at 10 but just to demonstrate it to you, I'll double it to 20. You see now they're longer. I'll put it back to 10. There we go. All right, next we're doing a dot snap to tick marks. Now what this does is it snaps to the marks instead of going in between and getting a decimal point value, and we don't want that. We want an integer to send to the Arduino board, so we want to keep it a nice number, not a decimal point number, not a float. All right, next we're doing a dot set color foreground, and we're doing a 255, 255, 255, which is white. And excuse me, that is the color for our tick marks, and also it's showing here. Well, we'll get into that why it changes color here in a moment, but this is white too. So let's go ahead and show you. Let's just change that to a 0. We'll bring it up now. You see? Oh, you got kind of a pinkish color going on there. All right, I'm going to go ahead and put that back to 255. Now, next is we're setting the background color, and this is RGB. These values, it's red, green, blue. And so what we're doing is we're setting the background color to red, and that's this color here. You see how the knob, the main color, is red. Now, in case you missed some of the previous episodes, you can go under Tools, and there's a thing right here, Color Selector, and you can go on here and pick a color you want. And when the color you want is in this little box here, then what you do is you get the red, the green, and the blue value, and you type that in right here, red, green, blue, RGB. Okay? All right, I'm going to bring that back up. All right, set color active, 0, 0, 0. And, let me just change it here so I can show you. We'll go 255. And that is the mouse over color. See? Now instead of white, it turns green when we go on there. So that's the dot set color active. That's when you mouse over it. That's the color that appears. I'm going to go ahead and put that back to 0. All right, then lastly, what we got here is the dot set drag direction. I got it set as horizontal. That means when I drag it, whoops, side to side, it goes up and down. And if you go up and down, it doesn't really move. It's moving a little because I'm not scrolling the mouse completely straight up and down, but I'm hoping you're understanding this. So if you wanted it to be where if you moved up and down, just change this instead of horizontal, do vertical. Just change horizontal and type in vertical in all capital letters, and when you scrolled up and down, it would change. Otherwise, horizontal. And that's how most people set it up, as horizontal, so that's why I put it that way. All right, next we're into our void draw, and that's similar to in Arduino to your void, your normal your void loop, and we're just setting the background color. That's all we're doing in there. Now next we got our void LED, and like I said, it matches this, and what it does is whenever that knob is, the value changes, it goes to the void LED. And you got to remember, normally you just have your little parentheses here with nothing in there, but to get the value in, you want to bring it in as an integer, so you just put int space LED. And like I have these capitalized, so make sure you capitalize it. If you have lowercase, make sure they match, and it'll work, but you got to put that in here, otherwise the value will not get pulled in and it won't work. But in the void LED, all we're doing is a port.write, and we're sending that value. So whenever the value changes, let me open that back up. Whenever this value changes, you can see in the middle it's displayed there. Whenever that changes, it does the port.write. If you don't change anything, it doesn't send anything. So it's not continuously sending. It's only when you change it that it sends something through the serial port. So, all right, well, that's all there is to processing. So if you watched the previous episodes, you can skip the next, but in case you haven't, I'm going to go ahead and go through the Arduino sketch here. Let me open it up quick. All right. So in the Arduino sketch, what we're doing is we're defining the pin that our LED is on, and we're calling it LED. And I got it on 11. I'm using an Uno, so 11 is a PWM pin. Just make sure you have this on a PWM pin, because not all the Arduino pins are PWM, pulse width modulation. Not all pins are. Next is we're defining an integer, and we're just calling it value, and that's what's being brought in. Now, because in processing, when go back here, when it first starts up, we're setting the value at 125, so it's halfway. Now, if you didn't, in the Arduino sketch, you didn't have that set here, the LED would be off. So we're setting the value to match what we had processing. Okay. Next on our void setup, we're just defining our pin mode. The LED, of course, is an output. Then we're going to go ahead and write that value to it. So when this starts up, it matches what processing has on that little program. So we're just writing the value. And we're doing an analog write. Remember, don't use digital write. Digital is on or off. Analog is for PWM. Then we're doing our serial up again, and once again, just make sure this matches what you have in processing. I'm using 9600, and right here in the void loop, all we're doing is an if statement. If serial is available, which means the slider's been, or excuse me, not the slider, the knob has been moved, the value changed, it will send data. So when data is available, it's reading it and bringing it in and putting it into our integer called value, or val, VAL, short for value. So it's doing the serial.read, putting it in there, and then we're simply just analog writing it. We're analog writing it to the LED pin 11. That's all there is to it. So, all right, well, play around with this, have some fun. And I keep saying it, I've said it in the last couple episodes, play with this. That is going to be the best way you're going to learn. The more you play with it and experiment, you'll learn. Trial and failure. That is how you learn. And I also do recommend typing this in instead of just copy and pasting it. But these are the first couple episodes, and if you're just getting into this, yeah, it's okay. Just copy it and paste it in to get started. But when you get more advanced, type it in, because it'll burn it into your brain. And you'll remember it better if you actually type it in, not just copy and paste. All right. Well, with that, let's see. Our next episode is going to be on the Bluetooth control, because the last couple, we did the buttons, the sliders, and now this episode we're doing the knobs. The next episode, we're going to do Bluetooth, because we've been using the USB cable connected to the Arduino. In the next episode, we're going to take an HC06 Bluetooth module, or you can also use an HC05, or any Bluetooth module you have. It will work. Very minor differences depending on your Bluetooth module. But then also we're going to use a Bluetooth little adapter, USB adapter with the computer. And instead of having a cable connected to the computer, we're going to send these values to the Arduino via Bluetooth. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to knock up a quick sketch and a processing program. I'm going to put the knobs, or the knob, the slider, and the button. I'm going to have all three of them. I'm going to whip up a little program and then we'll do Bluetooth, and we'll go through how to set it up with the computer and get everything working. So with that, I would like to thank you for joining us here at the Z-Hut today. If you found this information useful, please give me a thumbs up. I'd appreciate it big time. Don't forget to subscribe if you want to keep getting these tutorials. So with that, I hope you have a great day, and remember, have fun building.